Alright, what's up? It's Burst. We're here with week 5 of MDL versus Ryan. Can't believe I have to re-record this, but the mic wasn't working, so here we are. We're against a very scary team here with the Moltres and DD combo, very scary. Raikou, Blaziken, Marowak, the Slowking, Registeel, Haxorus, then of course the Slurpuff, Frostlass, and the Licky Licky. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Um, I'm very scared of that Licky Licky for the sake of this Mr. Rhyme. Why is it licking the red button nose? I'm not sure. I'm not gonna question it though, as long as it's consensual. Um, but yeah, this is a very scary team. There's a lot that goes into it, but we'll start on the matchup just to waste no more time. So, first off, we've got Musprings, shoot, and most likely to seize. I'm gonna start on the Ryan's end here to go through this whole thing. So first off, Moltres and DD, very common, very expected, and that's why I'm prepping this against. This combo is the backbone of this team for Ryan. Of course, it's not the only thing here, and there's a lot of other stuff it can do, but it is the offensive backbone. This thing is gonna put in a ton of work. Everything else comes in behind it and carries the rest of the game. So, of course, very scary. Um, my main goal with this at this point is that I want to hit past that in DD as however I can. Also next we have Marowak, very good mod of this team by the way, I greatly approve, but very scary because all my offensive or a lot of my offensive threats, being my Magnezone, Rhyperior, and the Naganadel, are weak to ground. So it is not a fun spot for them to be in. So of course I'm gonna prep a lot for that. Slurpuff is on the could see because we know that Ryan can be bringing Slurpuff eventually. He has said that it's going to come soon, it's just a matter of time. So I want to make sure that it has a lot of counters or checks. I don't expect it to make it past the team builder, but if it does, I have plenty of things for it. Haxorus, if it does come, I feel like it can be a Naganadel check with, say, Scarf. I am not, what's it called? I am not immune to seeing that, and I will probably be working around that. Um, Blaziken has a ton of threats. I think this is the most likely for it to come out of these five because fighting type moves hit a lot of my offensive mons, mainly the Urshifu, Rhyperior, and the Magnezone very hard. And just the coverage it gets is insane, so I want to prep around it. Right, Raikou, I expect if it does come, it's going to be more of a supportive set with just enough to maybe take out that Jellicent. But we're gonna see. Also, we have Frostlass here. Frostlass is going to be, if it comes as a Jellicent check and a Mesprit check, but I'm not sure if it's going to come because Urshifu exists and hits it very, very hard. On the unlikely to seize, um, Licky Tongue, obviously. Urshifu just kills it. Uh, Registeel, Urshifu kind of just kills it. Rhyperior kills it. I have a lot of stuff for it, even though it was a decent chunk of my team as well. I don't think he wants to come in against the Magnezone Urshifu with this. I know it was this is something that I was planning originally to bring. I was planning on bringing Magnezone with Magnet Pull with Urshifu next to it, but I had to change my plans for other things. Um, of course we have Slowking here, and that just gets bodied. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's a lot of stuff that bodies it here. Must bring. for me is my Trichum core, Magnezone, and Rhyperior especially. I think they work very well next to each other as um, ways to give and take, essentially. They have very, very good spread moves next to each other with Rock Slide and Discharge. They're very synergistic in that kind of way. And that's going to allow me to hit the Moltres Pass Follow Me very well. We also have Jellicent. Jellicent is just a Magic Room setter. I also need it for the Blaziken especially. My good rings, Naganadel. It's Naganadel, it's going to outspeed, it's going to hit hard, and there's a lot of things that can hit hard. I can tell you that much. Mesprit, if it comes, it's going to be more of a supportive set. It's going to have enough to maybe kill a Blaziken, but it's going to come to really support that Naganadel. Of course, we also have Urshifu. And Urshifu is here for, I'll just hit chunking literally everything. Um, I do want it to come if I do bring it, in case the unlikely to sees come, because you don't want to just like prep against the top 8, and then if one of the bottom 3 come, you're screwed. So bringing something to at least pressure them to not come past team preview is very important. Talonflame is also nice for trying to counter speed, but I'm not sure if it hits too much here. It can of course taunt, for example, a NDD, and the fact that it's flying makes it bypass Psychic Terrain. So there's a lot of cool things it can do. It's just not going to be doing anything offensively. Finally, Mr. Rhyme. If Psychic Terrain isn't up, this thing is very good for a weakness policy proc. So it's obviously on the could bring. Won't brings for Morgrem, it's a Psychic Terrain team. I'm obviously not going to be bringing a Morgrem in there. Altaria just isn't the weak, sorry. I want an Altaria to come in on a weather week that has a decent matchup. And finally, Sceptile. Just it only hits one thing on this team, which is the Marowak, which is not enough for me to really value it. Anyway, we'll see you in the team builder now. Here with the team builder, this is the third time I'm recording this, which is kind of awful because first 2 times were just recording didn't go well. But at least I have one of the sets like made sure it's right because I've had a question with it each and every time. We're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna see if we have a Trichum core and a non-Trichum core. The non-Trichum core is a little bit more iffy with its movesoft and stuff. The Trichum core is fine. So first off, Rhyperior, we're running a very specially defensive set because this is gonna be my main offensive counter to the Moltres. We have Rock Slide for the very, very crucial spread moves. Rock Slide with this set will do just over 50% to a Moltres with max HP, but not maxed. Which is very important because I want to make sure that if Ryan gets greedy and goes for a, what's it called? A follow me and nasty plot, that I can punish it heavily. And that is what I plan to do with the Rock Slide and Magnezone. It does have high horsepower. If it is going to one-shot a no investment non-max Blaziken. But of course, we're not expecting too much other than that out of the minimal investment attack. We also got Crunch just to chunk down that Ndidi. I wanted something to hit that hard. And Ice Punch for just now realizing it's for the Marowak and the Haxorus. I've always gotten what the Ice Punch is for wrong. pass. Oh yeah, one other note. The defense here makes a close combat from the Blaziken go down from a, say, it does 90% on a high roll to about 75%. That's very important for saving 15% or more on car insurance, obviously. Not on car insurance, but save that joke for another day. We're running Air Balloon Magnezone now because, well, Chocoberry is very, very, what's it called? What's the right word? It's hit or miss against a Marowak. Marowak has Bone Moraine, which hits twice, so Chocoberry only procs for the first, not the second, meaning that I want to be able to miss both. So Air Balloon it is. We're running Protect, Thunderbolt, Flash Cannon, Discharge, nothing fancy there. Discharge will do just over 50% without the analytic boost um, to the non-max max HP. Uh, what is it called? Uh, what's it called? Moltres. Yeah. So of course we got a lot of physical bulk here because I'm not worried about the special. Just because the special attacks are going to be coming in, they're not going to last for too long. And I'm more worried about what's coming in the back. Next is Jellicent, Mental Herb Curse Body. Mental Herb just to prevent things like Strength Sap and Tripping being taunted. Scald and Ice Beam are for coverage. Scald is for the Blaziken and the Marowak. Ice Beam is for that Axorus and the Moltres. Running a very physically defensive set because this thing is meant to be a physical wall against things like the Marowak and the Blaziken. As you can see by the Strength Sap, being able to just suck everything in, which is very important for this. Of course, we see Trick Room. Next, we have Urshifu G-Max. Now, the main thing with Urshifu is that Stone Edge is very unreliable. We're having to run it here as a way of hitting the, what's it called? Hitting that Moltres. For speed creeping something, I believe it's the Moltres. We have admin max. No, we're not speed creeping the Moltres. What am I thinking? For speed creeping, I believe in DD. Admin max attack. Really just a lot of special defense with the rest and 4 and 4. There's nothing much to say here other than close combat could have been aerial ace, but I chose not to because I don't want to risk something like Ready Seal coming and then I just don't have an answer for it outside of Rhyperior. Anyway, next is Naganadel, and this thing is going to be a very hard special hitter. I have to have Life Orb for Calcs. I have to have Draco Meteor for Calcs. And I have to have Helping Hand Calcs. Mainly against a very, very, very bulky DD is what I'm calcing against. Now, I did just remember, min speed on Magnezone at 58. Jellicent has 2 here for 59. Rhyperior has 60 with just 31-0. This is very important for Magnezone getting analytic boost. Anyway, Air Slash for the Airstream. Sludge Bomb is very important for Slurpuff. I could have a Protect here. This is like the one thing that's worrying me most. If Slurpuff comes, I need an answer for it. Sludge Bomb is going to be my answer. But if it doesn't come, I really want to protect in that slot, and I will be hurting if it doesn't. Anyway, Draco Meteor for the calcs against the that's more of against the Moltres. I can kill a maximal trace with this thing, and I will kill a maximal trace with this thing. But I'm actually more worried about killing the DD with a Dark Pulse here, or a Max Dark, whatever it's called. Decreeping whatever the fastest thing on the team is. Special attack, max HP, 4 and 4. Finally, Mesprit, Overberry for surviving. Ollie Switch for Naganadel surviving. Helping Hand for Calx here. Ice Beam and Psychic for the coverage. And I don't remember what these stats are for, but it was definitely so I can hit something well with the ice or the Psychic. Anyway, I hope this recording went well. Yep, it did. And we'll see y'all in the match. I'm really excited for it. I could very well lose this. I won't be too mad, but I'm really hoping that I pull out a win with my first match with Nagano. Anyway, see y'all then. Alright, so I do just want to mention right now that this is a very, very cursed matchup, so take everything that happens here with a grain of salt. Because, like, yeah, if it didn't go this way, I wouldn't know how to feel. Or if a lot of the cursed things didn't happen, a lot of this match could have gone differently. So this entire match is just taken with a grain of salt. Y'all already know this entire week is with a grain of salt. So anyway, I'm leading Nagano Mesprit because that's what I have the most variable game plans with. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to have my end game look like. And I know I want Magnus Zone here because I want to make sure that Slurpuff doesn't do too much. And now I'm going between Jellicent and Rhyperior as my fourth. I don't really see an end game with Urshifu because all it really hits is the Slowking, which I'm not sure is going to come, and the Indeedee, which is a lead. So of course I'm checking my Urshifu stuff just to make sure I don't have anything for like the Marowak. So eventually I believe I go with the Jellicent here because I wanted to make sure I had an end game for the Marowak. Yep. Also it's getting late getting late on the timer and I'm kind of panicking with what I want to do. So for better or for worse, I pick Jellicent. We start the match and immediately we know that it's in my favor because I have the better lead card. Obviously I'm getting chomped by the Cramormatic versus his just beat the 4th gym with the Quagsire. So we have the Indeedee Haxorus lead, and I'm very concerned about what this is, but we do see, first off, a nerve. That's going to be very important for Mesprit's Cossid Berry, I believe. And Psychic Surge comes out without a seed. And this is the second very important thing. So I immediately just go for what my game plan is, and that's a Helping Hand into the Nagano, plus a Max Darkness into the Indeedee. I'm not expecting a Sash to be on this thing, so I'm expecting a very quick and clean Oko, because I made sure that I calced that the Helping Hand and Life Orb would kill the Indeedee without the Psychic Seed boost. Also, the lack of Psychic Seed here is making me realize that the Psychic Seed is likely on the Slurpuff as an Unburden proc. So of course, I get my Naganadel out, which very nice Beast Ball, by the way. The Jenners did a really good job on that one. We love Naganadel Max, and we see the Haxorus Max here, which I am very confused by. I mean, I am expecting Naganadel just to get bopped. I was expecting a Moltres Max, which leaves Haxorus in a lot more of a, it leaves it in a lot more of a target position, now that I can literally tap, or I can cough on the Indeedee and kill it, if it just lives, just for whatever reason. Because of course, Darkness is going to come out. I do get we do see a sash on the Indeedee, which is very important to note that the sash is there and not anywhere else. And Haxorus has a Spadef drop. And, of course, the next thing we see is the Wormwind onto the Haxorus. So, Nagano gets taken out. I'm not very pleased with how much value we got as a lead. Unfortunately, I only planned for it as a lead, so I'm not planning on really bringing it in the future. I think I'm going to get more value with other leads, especially with the Sash and the Indeedee. So now I'm going between what my end game options are, obviously. I believe I just want to be able to tank something with Jellicent. I can probably set Trick Room for myself. I can Strength Sap into the Haxorus. I have a lot of different options with the Jellicent, so generally the Jellicent is my best bet. And now I believe I think I just want to Ice Beam into the Ice Beam into the Indeedee. Or no. Actually what I end up doing is I double Ice Beam into the Haxorus. Because I'm expecting if the Indeedee will if the Indeedee follow me, then it's just gonna take it. But Indeedee Helping Hand instead, it goes for the Max Quake into the Mesprit, which I was very confused by. I know Ryan's a better player. I think he was expecting maybe a switch into a Magnezone. I'm not sure, but either way, I get a ton of free damage off into the Haxorus. So now I'm of course firing off 2 more Ice Beams. It's just a matter of targeting. I believe I go for my second Ice Beam into the Haxorus, with the first being... Oh no, I was also debating Ally Switch here. But I think it's just safer not to reveal the Ally Switch right now, and just to Ice Beam into one of each. If Follow Me happens like it does, I'll still get the KO. It's no big deal. I'm in a 3-1 advantage position. We do see a Wormwind come out onto the Mesprit, and Mesprit takes it like a champ. I'm very glad to see it like that. So the Ice Beam does come out, take the KO on the Indeedee, with a very, very necessary crit. If that doesn't tell you really what happens throughout this match, it's only the beginning. So Haxorus does go down to the Jellicent. And now we're just waiting for what Ryan chooses, or what's Ryan's backline. So we see it's the Moltres and the Slurpuff. So I'm immediately rewarded for having Magnezone in the back. And we do see the Psychic Seed come out onto the Slurpuff to proc that what's it called? The Unburden. So I'm not sure what I'm choosing to do here. I know I want to Trick Room. Oh yeah, I did something here. I don't remember what I did. I think I just Ice Beamed. But yeah, the Fiery Wrath does come out. And Jellicent lives on 1. Whatever Mesprit did, it didn't matter. And mind you, Cursed Body. Cursed Body saved our ass this round. Trick Room comes out, and Moltres is not able to do Fiery Wrath. So I'm in a perfect Magnezone endgame here. But I do know that I am probably going to end up having to, what's it called? I'm probably going to end up having to sack the Jellicent at some point. I'm just trying to figure out what the best play with Jellicent is. Also, I know I'm going to be proccing a weakness policy in the Moltres. That's the important part. So Moltres goes for the Protect, which probably saved me in the long run, because Thunderbolt doesn't really hit anything, and I didn't get hit by anything, and it allows me a free Strength Sap onto the Slurpuff here, while it also gives a Fake Tears to, I believe, the Magnezone. Yeah, we're seeing it now. So defenses are shot, but I do appreciate the slurp up. It was definitely not the offensive set I was seeing, especially after I see the Jellicent string sap doesn't end up with much. So I'm just doubling into the Moltres here to see what happens. I'm expecting Jellicent to go down. Magnezone is gonna be able to get the first move off and live, whatever happens. Of course it's not a Fiery Wrath, but whatever. Thunderbolt comes out. We do well over half, which is great for us. We see the weakness policy proc, and we see Berserk. So, very scary. We also see the Ice Beam come out, and it barely doesn't do enough to chunk it, which is mad unfortunate, but also I'm not expecting much from Jellicent anyway. Jellicent lives because the Air Slash missed, and it shouldn't have lived there. Not at all. And this really saved my endgame. No, actually. Actually, no, not at all. The Air Slash miss didn't save my endgame because I probably could have just discharged. But I do get a free flash cannon off onto the Slurpuff since I was able to just devote Jellicent into the Moltres slot. Jellicent does go down and it allows me a free discharge onto this next turn. But also we do see that Fiery Wrath is no longer disabled. So I'm in a pretty good position here. I probably would have been anyway if it hadn't been for the Air Slash miss. But, oh well, you hate to see it either way. The double protect doesn't go off, so that would have been very important for him if he does get it off, and we would have gotten it out of Trick Room. The paralyze onto the Slurpuff is just mad unfortunate. That's the second 30% proc this game. The Dazzling Gleam still chunks us, as it should. And I get the free Flash Cannon for the KO. And just for salting the wound, the full para comes out. It wouldn't have done much anyway, but there it is. A not very deserved win. I probably could have played a little bit better. I'll have to watch it back because it just happened. But yeah, I'm a lot more familiar with how this team is built. It allows me a bit more flexibility in how I can run the second game. So even though I didn't play the first game the most optimally, it was the best for, I guess, my ability. So it gives me a lot better of a position in the second game. So even if I didn't win, I probably was in a very good position for game 2 to set up. So obviously I know that the Naganadel is not a good bring. So I'm just deciding I want to have the Rhyperior Magnezone, of course, because I think, oh, that Haxorus lead didn't work with lead Moltres. And then Jellicent Mesprit is probably a good backline because Mesprit can just go ham. And Jellicent has a lot of tools defensively. So I do think that leaving the two T1s behind is probably the best move. I know it's not the very best offensively, but it gives me a little bit more leeway to work with what I think is going to happen with their adaptations. So again, I get the immediate advantage with the lead card. Very great on my end, right? And we get the Marowak and DD lead. So I think what I want to do is I want to bait out something from this Marowak. I think he's gonna try targeting down this Magnezone. he's either not going to see that it's air balloon because the text went too fast, or he's going to try breaking the air balloon within DD. But I don't want to risk that. I want to be able to say, hey, he's going to go for the follow me and just try nuking something. So I want to be very safe. So I protect on the Magna Zone just to make sure that air balloon doesn't get dropped. And we do see a Marowak max here, which is a little odd because I was also expecting a Moltres max later on, but that's okay. But we do get the protected Magnet Zone off, which is also very nice. And indeed he uses Dazzling Gleam, which I now see he's trying to break the air balloon before he gets the max Quake out. But thankfully Magnet Zone takes it like a champ, and so does Rhyperior, and I get a very nice crunch out onto Indeedee. And just a very unnecessary defense drop. And yeah, at that point, I'm feeling very good to just switch out Magnezone. I don't like keeping Magnezone in here in the first place. So I'm gonna just raw Hailstorm into the Marowak while I switch in Mesprit. If he tries going for the same play again, it's just gonna fail a second time. If he goes into the Rhyperior, it's gonna be meh. And if so, Mesprit gets the free switch in. So I get my max out. And yeah, Rhyperior is in a very great place to max here. I don't think there's any other mon that wants to max, and this is just the freest spot. It's probably most optimal as well. I feel like I played that fairly well. I take the Dazzling Gleam like a champ. I'm not sure why they went for the Dazzling Gleam there. Um, Maybe it was just to get something into a range. I get the Hailstorm off, which tells me that Marowak is physically defensive at some point, or it's just high HP. And he goes for the Max Quake into the Rhyperior, which is a very safe play on his end. Um, there's no reason for him not to. I highly agree with that. Um, and here I think is the point where I want to reveal my ally switch. So I don't want Rhyperior to take another thing, and I want to make sure that this is the turn where no holds barred. I'm not going to be concealing tech anymore. I just want to be able to get as much damage onto Marowak as possible and make sure that Rhyperior lives to see another day, right? But obviously he doesn't want that to happen because Indeedee goes for the follow me, which preserves the Marowak for another turn, and to get this move out, Ally Switch comes out, and we do see the Max Hailstorm come out and take the KO onto the Indeedee, which is to be expected. It was within one shot anyway. And Marowak goes for the Max Rockfall in on the Rhyperior, and I believe he doesn't get the special defense boost, so I'm not sure why he goes for the Rockfall other than to get consistent damage out onto the Mesprit. So I guess he didn't have Dark Tech, or maybe he didn't want to proc the berry there. Sorry, I need to correct myself last time. It's the Culver Berry. He just wanted to get consistent damage out before the Haxorus comes out, and he can get a free Dark off, whatever the Dark move is. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen here. I can't ally switch again because that would probably put me in a position to lose my game. But I am hovering over it just because I'm considering that. Of course, ally switch is a lot in mind games. I'm also considering a switch here, but I believe what I end up going with is the Ice Beam onto Haxorus and the Max Hailstorm into the Marowak. If I kill the Marowak, I kill the Marowak. I have the Jellicent to switch in, and it's just free damage on the Haxorus if I live. So I don't think I'm too worried about this position here. It's just what happens if the Marowak stays and gets in against my Magnezone. and that's the most important thing. So Haxorus reveals Dragon Claw, and Mesprit gets chunked, but thankfully survives. I'm glad that it survived, but really it tells me that Haxorus isn't too offensive. Actually, I didn't do that many calcs, so I'm not sure. We get the kill on the Marowak, which leaves Magnezone much more free for the end game in this game. And of course, we do have the chunk on the Haxorus. And now, I believe that Mesprit and Rhyperior have both done their jobs. And honestly, Jellicent and Magnezone are in a pretty good endgame as long as we can kill that Haxorus. We see a Moltres come out, which is just the nail in the coffin for these two. A Fiery Wrath is just going to take them both no problem. They're both just so low in there. I can't really expect anything more out of them. They can both die here. I just want to make sure that the two back Pokemon get in safe. So, however that has to happen. I'm just going for safe target calls for whatever. My main thing is I don't want to proc the weakness policy on the Moltres. So I think what I end up doing is I double target with ice moves into the Haxorus in case one dies but the other doesn't. So I guess that's the play I'm going for, but it doesn't matter. We do see the Haxorus go for the D-Dance, which is scary, but I understand because he's just going to kill with the Fire Wrath anyway, and it's a free D-Dance. So I'm a bit worried now for the Haxorus. I know it has a max Quake, and what else do we know? So we know it can hit fairly well into the Magnezone. And I want to make sure that no matter what happens, Magnezone gets saved for a very nice and neat endgame against this Moltres because that's going to be my main offensive counter. So I'm going to protect the Magnezone here, make sure the Air Balloon is safe, make sure that it's safe. And I'm just going to go for a straight Ice Beam into the Haxorus. I'm going to trust the fact that I am very max physical bulk. So I'm not expecting too much to go wrong here other than say Jellicent just to go down and for it to be a 2v1. But thankfully Haxorus targets into the Magnezone, so it's very nice to protect. Fiery Wrath comes out, and Jellicent does take it like a champ, thankfully. And that's the third 30% chance with the Cursed Body. We also get the Ice Beam to kill the Haxorus, which sets up now a 2v1 where he doesn't have a double target move anymore. So if it weren't a Curse Enough week, we have two Cursed Bodies just saving the day and making sure we have a secure endgame. So I'm very fortunate that I did have the Cursed Body because, oh, I love Jellicent now. um, so I'm just gonna try setting up here. I was originally thinking, oh, I can Scald because I won't proc anything, but I was just thought, fuck it. Okay, then the second Air Slash, and that just didn't even deserve to happen. Ice Beam comes out, procs the weakness policy, and also allows Magnezone to T-Bolt, bringing in Berserk range, but doesn't matter because Analytic Boost will kill the Moltres. So, I need to make sure that it calcs there, but very good game to Ryan. GG's. And I will see y'all in the next time. We are now at a 2-2 differential with a 2-2 match score, 0 differential. So I'm playing a lot better than beginning of the league, I can say that. Anyway, I think I play Grant next time, so see y'all then.